Of Random Life, and I'm sorry that the previous live transmission didn't work out because of internet. So let's try again, and hopefully this one will work. So the topic that I want to touch upon today is the topic of how to end complicated, weird relationships, as was described by one of my dear humanitarians in my recent session. And I want to really talk about it in the way that I think that we discussed with my client, but also I would like for you to think about in case this is you, or especially I have heard this topic mostly from my female humanitarians, but I think this is applicable for anyone who may be going through a similar situation. I have been certainly in that situation, and I would like to invite you all to think about a different way of approaching this if you haven't done it yet. And the example I want to give is certainly not an isolated example, I think. So don't think of it as this is only happening in humanitarian world. It can, I think, happen in other situations as well. But the humanitarian world is where I know best, so that's why we'll be talking about it. So the example she was giving me is her being in an emergency situation for some time. I think 3 years, and then falling in love with this man who um, was or is still committed to another family with children, and falling in love with him in the way that she felt like she found the person that the this is the person I want to spend my long-term uh, relationship with. I really want to do all the things with this person, but at the same time, knowing deeply in our hearts that there is no future with this person, right? So I had similar experience as well in the emergency setting, being in the compound setting, and similar stories of falling in love uh, through maybe a lot is through stress and difficulties and challenges of life and work in that environment that's uniting people, and but at the same time deep in our heart knowing that this relationship can't really go any longer, any further, no matter how much we have discussed or no matter how much we wish things were different, right? So she was telling this is a very complicated and weird relationship, and she was also telling me that she does not really want to let go of this. She feels very attached to those feelings, to those memories, and then at the same time wanting to create a long-term relationship, wanting to create a family and children, and feeling like I don't know how to do and what to do, right? So this is the situation. So I was asking her if she believed truly that there is another person out there wanting to create a relationship with her, out there wanting to have the committed relationship and wanting the same things as she wants, and having children and all of this. If she believed there was another person out there wanting this and she could meet that person, would she really hang on to that other relationship, the one that she says complicated and weird, right? Would she really hang up on that? And she was telling me no, she wouldn't. So if that is the case, then what we're really doing in those moments, right? In those moments when we are really having difficulty letting go of that relationship, letting go of that, of those feelings, of those memories, what we're really doing is we're afraid of committing to another relationship. We're afraid of starting something new because we feel like we don't really know if that will work out, right? Even though we are wanting something else, we're wanting someone who is available, who wants to have the same things as we do. We're wanting that, but at the same time, we're afraid whether we will find that person or whether we'll meet that person, whether we'll be able to build that kind of relationship again, whether we'll fall in love with that person in the same way as before, right? So that's why we're really attaching ourselves to this current complicated, weird relationship, as we say, because we're afraid of creating the alternative. And the reason why we're afraid is because there are too many uncertainties. And then therefore we just want to stay in the certainty, even though there is no future, as we're telling ourselves, right? So therefore we're really like stuck in this place of holding on to the nice memories of the past, holding on to those feelings, holding on to we wish things were different, but at the same time not really doing anything about building the future. And that's why we'd love for you to think about, yes, process those emotions, yes, process those uh, relationship passing and that there is no future, and admitting that to ourselves is definitely the first thing we need to do. But at the same time, what I see many of us are not doing, and including myself at the time I wasn't doing it, is really trusting ourselves to see how we can build another amazing relationship. How can we build another relationship that is exactly the way we want to? And we're not really spending time trusting ourselves and exploring our abilities to do that, and believing that we can create another similar or maybe even better relationship with another person who's available, who's wanting this. And therefore I would love for you to like I would love to invite you to spend more time on that possibility, more time on our ability to create that, more time on how we're now the person who wants to have a committed relationship, who wants to create that family, who wants to create those children, who wants to, right? Spending more time on exploring ourselves, exploring our abilities to do that, rather than hanging on to the feelings, the memories that we believe don't have a future. Because as long as we just keep hanging on to those of the past, then we will not be building the future, or we'll be continuing to reinforce our fear of how we can build the future. And therefore, the more we reinforce that fear, the more it will become like the walls within us, and therefore it will become much more difficult to break that wall. And therefore, I invite you to start thinking about the possibilities of creating the future the way you want to, being the person who can create the future, and spending more time in that possibility, in that feeling, as soon as you can, as soon as you know in your truth that there is no future with this person. Because otherwise, what I have done in my own life is I have spent 6 years believing that there will be a future, 6 years lying to myself in my example, 6 years kept telling myself that things will be different, that he will be coming available to me the next day or the next month and the next thing. I kept just lying this to myself, even though in truth, in the deepest depths of my heart, I knew that he would never be divorcing. I knew that he would never be available, I think, to me because he had other commitments. I knew that I knew that also that it would be good for him to commit to his other family and stay with him. But at the same time, because I kept telling myself, well, I'm in love and I can't find another person who's like this. I can never be in love with that this way, or I can never be, or whatever the things that I was telling myself. I just kept lying to myself. I just kept feeding myself this lie of how I can't ever find some similar person, how I can build a similar future, and all of those things. And I spent 6 years of my life doing that. And I really, really, from like the best of my heart for myself as I know it, I would love to invite you to not do those type of mistakes that I have done it. And this client of mine is now trying to overcome this. I would love for you to start like owning that truth as soon as you notice this, owning that truth, and owning that yes, this is painful to let go of that amazing relationship, It is painful, but at the same time, it is better that way. If you feel like there's no future, then it's better that you start focusing on building the future the way you want to, and like building your belief in yourself that you can be the person who can create an amazing relationship with someone else who you really want to, and that person is out there and you can meet that person, and building that belief in that and getting yourself out of that situation, the sooner the better. And I would like to invite you to allow yourself every time when you are like trying to let go of that situation, when you are noticing this attachment, but you're also telling yourself that this is the time you let go of all of those feelings of the past, you can also invite yourself in that moment to ask yourself, how would I really feel? How would I really feel if I was building the real relationship that I really want to with another person who wants the same thing? How would I feel in those moments? Um, if I really believe that there is that such person who is out there who can do this with me, who wants to do this, what I want to build with me, then what the next steps I would be taking, how would I be proceeding, and then focus on that as much as you can. And that way you will also process the past faster, you will also let go of the past faster, and you will focus your focus to the future and start going towards that direction, even if you don't know how exactly, but at least you will start moving yourself like emotionally, energetically towards that, rather than keep being in this I can't do this, or I can never be able to find such person, or I don't think they exist, and all of this story, which will not help us at all. So that's why, my dears, I really invite you to come coach with me on this particular topic if you're having this type of questions, or if you're having this type of difficulties and not knowing how to let go, because I really want us to spend more time on trusting ourselves and our abilities to build those amazing committed relationships that we want to, and exploring how we can build that, rather than holding on to the past and believing that we can't let go, or we can't really find anyone similar, or we just don't trust ourselves, or we just like keep reinforcing our fear, which I know from my own experience that is not useful. And we will eventually come to realize that that's not really useful. And therefore, the sooner we realize and own our truths, the better we go to building the future. So come coach with me. I really, really hope that you will take this message and start implement believing in yourself and your abilities to meet the person who you want, instead of holding on to the past. Have an amazing week, and I'll speak to you very soon.